This is Grapplers Talk.
What is up, fans of Grapplers Talk? This is Dave coming at you with another episode each and every week. Thank you to the fans for downloading and tuning into the podcast. We truly appreciate all the love and support we're getting out there. And man, we have an awesome time of the year. I feel like when it starts to get nice out, competition season has begun. And I don't know. I feel like there's some pretty cool competitions that pop up, some pretty cool events, and I'm excited for this nice weather we're having in California, and truly excited to bring you guys an episode each and every week. It's an honor to get to talk to some of the best and most interesting people out there in grappling. And I'm excited to have on somebody who has some pretty good expertise in the world of grappling. He does multiple different things, but we'll get into that once he gets started. First, before we introduce our guests, I do just got to say thank you to our partners over at Butterfly X, supplying us with the best rash guards, no-gi kits, gis, belts, everything you need. Academy owners, hit up our guys at Butterfly X. Use any promo codes for Grapplers Talk, you'll get 10% off. So make sure you check them out, like them on Instagram, follow them, all that fun stuff. But I'm excited to have on a guest this week. You might have seen him before on PGF, but none other than PJ. Now, pronounce your last name for me. I don't want to
Montano,
butcher it. Montano.
Montano, sir.
Perfect. Yeah, everyone's always roasting me for butchering everyone's names, but I want to talk to you about how you got introduced into grappling in general. What was your first grappling session like, if you can remember?
Yeah,
And what made you sign up or go to it or get started in that area?
so what's funny is like I didn't really have a choice. It was like I was born, and that's just what I started doing. So, my dad it was my it started with my grandpa. So my grandpa, World War II, learned boxing, judo, wrestling, right? And came home from the war, taught my dad boxing, judo, wrestling. So when I was born, I just naturally started boxing, judo, wrestling. So like it was just like a basic thing, but I took it to another level because you know, I started wrestling. I'll be 43 this year, and I was gonna be. I think I started when I was like 6, like really
Oh, wow.
hard, like really hardcore, like wrestling. Like that was like, my dad had a rule like I have to make you go to school, so you have to train. Like there's no. If I make you go to school all day, sit there for 8 hours, guess what? When you come home, you gotta train. You have to train. There's no question about it. Like I'm also Native American, so it's big that like the firstborn son learns how to defend in case, defend the family, all that kind of. It's just tradition, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I remember about starting grappling. I just started, and that's what I was doing. I was doing boxing, judo, wrestling, and then karate because my dad got into Kempo karate
Okay.
under like the Ed Parker style. I'm under
Yeah.
Bob White and David Brock, so I have my black belts under them, and I just followed it because it was what I did. It wasn't like I played football and I did wrestling.
Yeah.
I played
It's
baseball
ingrained in you
and
at
I
that
did,
point,
yeah, yeah.
right?
It's just what it was like. It was like, oh, we just got done with baseball practice. Oh, hey, well, that's only about 30 minutes. We can get there and get a roll in or something like that. And that was just how it was. It wasn't like I just chose. It was just like, oh, okay, so do I need to bring my wrestling bag or not? Yeah, you need to bring wrestling bag. Okay. So I'd
Yeah.
have I'd have my baseball stuff and with a bat in it and stuff like that, and then I'd have a wrestling bag inside. And my dad's like, "You're already sweaty. Just change into it. You're fine. It's not a big deal. You're gonna sweat anyway." And then I would go and train with all these guys. And my first wrestling group was Sunkiss Kids out of Brethren Christian in Cyprus. Was Coach Cadwalder. Coach Cad, he passed away. God bless him. But he passed away about a decade ago, I want to say. But that was my first experience because my dad was a Cyprus police officer at that time. So it
Okay.
was like right next door. So when he got off, it was like my mom worked at the college, he worked at the police station. I would just kind of like I was at the kids program there. So my mom would take me to my dad after he got off. My dad would take me to training. It was a very like when I really think about it, it's a very Spartan schedule. I was just like everything was, TO&E, like perfectly locked in.
Yeah.
Um, but I started getting into that, and we had a judo coach, Coach Takanawa, Coach Takanawa was someone for me that I specifically remember him because I it was the very first time I had ever done anything with like, gi on. Like, and I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? It's like, oh, it's like the karate gi. And he's like, no, 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 this is a karate gi.
Yeah.
And then I put it on the first time, and I was like, oh, this is heavy. Like, what? Like, how come my other one doesn't feel like that? And then, translates later, and I'm doing full contact karate and like tearing people's gis because
Yeah.
like they're the gis like paper versus like cardboard, right?
Yeah. Big
It's way
difference.
different, way different. So yeah, so I started that probably when I was like 6 years old. Like I was doing wrestling, judo, and karate and boxing. Like it was just what it was. There was no, this is in like that time. This is like 88, 89 because I was born in 83. So like 88, 89, I'm like learning how to do all this stuff. And it wasn't anything like hardcore. Oh, you got to do this, but no, you have to do this. You have to learn how to use your hands. You need to learn how to use your feet. You learn how to throw someone, and you need to learn how to like stop someone from taking you down and scrambling around. That was just the way it was. There
Yeah.
was no other way for me. And then after that, I went into high school wrestling. I was a All-American for freestyle and Greco out of Fargo when I went there. Then I ended up getting hit up by Cal State Bakersfield. I went to college at Cal State
Oh, wow.
Bakersfield. I wrestled under TJ Kerr was the coach at the time. Tom Kaspari was actually my scout. And then my coach, who's actually Stephen Neal. So like Stephen Neal, if anybody knows anything about him, he's like a NCAA champion. He was a Pan Am Games champion. He was an alternate for the Olympic team below Kerry McCoy. He was a massive, massive man, and he's actually was the starting guard for Tom Brady during the three-peat at
Oh,
when they were
wow.
on the New England Patriots. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he had never played football in his life. He was just like, "Hey, I'm done with wrestling now. I kind of, Olympics are over, this and that. What should I do?" And he tried out for the New England Patriots because, was it what that guy's the Bill, whatever that guy's last name. I can't remember the guy.
Belichick.
Belichick. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Belichick. Bill Belichick. He saw him the first time, but because he was holding and doing things and like that, they actually cut him. So like when I came into Cal State Bakersfield for my scouting, he was trying out for the Patriots. So he was like super like, yeah, 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 right on, man. Playing games, this and that. But then when I started, he had already gotten cut. So he had like a real bad chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So my freshman year at Cal State Bakersfield, oh man, like that is, I mean, I had already fallen in love with wrestling, but that's where I learned how to fall in love with the grind because it was not something that was for the weak at that
Right.
time. Like Coach Kerr was like an ex-DI for the Marines, so like he had no sympathy. Well, there's a bell right there.
Yeah.
I can get. I got three other scholarships sitting on the table. They'd love to do what you're doing right now,
Yeah.
motherfucker. Dude, just all right. I'm just gonna go run. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
In Bakersfield, it's not it's a very unforgiving environment, dude. When
Yeah.
it's hot.
I,
And when it's cold, it's cold.
yeah, my grandma lived in Bakersfield. We used to go there and visit her in the summertime, and it was like 150 degrees,
Oh, dude,
like,
it's like I remember one time in the springtime, it was like a bad heat wave, and it was like I think it was like 105 degrees outside, and like coach was like, "All right, guys, we'll see you on the track." We're like, "Dude, it's like orange air quality, and like, and it's 105 degrees." Well,
yeah.
Fresno State's running. I don't give a shit. Are you serious?
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right. Well, we'll go. And like, I just remember those practices. Like, fuck this. Like, this is I not want to do this, but I wanted to do it in the worst way too. So it was like
Right.
give or take. It's a double-edged sword at that point. And then with so I got into that with college. Ended up, what is it? I qualified for NCAA's, and then the next year, we were just at practice, dude. I got hit with a low seal, blew out my ACL. Just
Oh, wow.
boom. And they let me finish school. They let me use my medical shirt, finish my schooling, came back. And I came back from college wrestling. I don't know what to do. Like, there's no professional wrestling,
Yeah.
in 2004. And, it's like
Right.
UFC is barely getting big at that point. It's starting to grow. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's already been growing a little bit since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my buddies, hits me up and he's like, "Hey, man, like, you got to go to this cat named Eric Paulson's place." And like Eric Paulson, anybody knows Eric Paulson, he's a
Legend.
catch wrestling legend,
Yeah.
Shudo champion, bare knuckle first
Yeah.
American to win the judo championship. Me as a naive 24-year-old little kid, like submission wrestling. The hell's this guy going to teach me about wrestling? Oh, I found out.
Yeah. Real
Oh, I
quick.
found out. Oh, real quick. It was he heel hooked me. This is in like 2004, 2005. He heel hooked me the first time I rolled with him. I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know
No.
you could grab someone's leg and twist their hip and knee and ankle all at the same time. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? I actually got mad because I was like, what the hell was that? And he's like, it's called a heel hook. And I was like, okay, I started going to again, toe holds me, then straight ankle locks me, then invert heel hooks me, then rolls me up and calf slices me. And I'm like, okay, look at yourself in the mirror. You're an all-American wrestler. You wrestled at Pac-10 Division One. What the hell is going on right now? Like that was literally like I
Yeah.
was like, what is going on? And then so I got to roll with some of those other guys, and I could keep up with them because of wrestling, right? But their
Right.
jujitsu, I would get caught in, I'd post my arm, straight arm lock, a shoulder
Right.
lock. I just was
Pretty common
risk
for wrestlers to get caught in that kind of stuff, right?
100% because we're used to having wrestling with windows, right? Like we have to have windows when we wrestle. So in jujitsu and catch wrestling, there's no more windows. But a window is like that's enough to slide my knee under, trap you up, and rip over. Like people are talking about choi bars nowadays, right? I
Yeah.
learned that stuff in like 2005.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
It wasn't
it's
called the Choi bar though. Yeah, but it
no,
was
it's just
around.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a step over arm bar. It's
Yeah.
a step over the shoulder arm bar.
Yeah.
Like Coach Paulson, I love Coach Paulson so much because I've been with Paulson for about 25 years now doing catch
Wow.
wrestling. I never went anywhere else. Why would I?
Yeah.
So I have a story about why I stayed with him, right? So that first practice, right? Mind you, he doesn't know I'm a black belt in karate at that time. So like he's like, hey, you should stay for MMA. You ever done a little fighting? Oh, they've done a little bit. Didn't tell him I was a black belt, right? So like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get these guys back. My stand-up's good. I'm gonna get these guys back, because they just beat the hell out of me with jujitsu and catch. Oh, it was catch wrestling, not jujitsu. They just beat the hell out of me with all this stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool. Well, you know what? Like, y'all don't know that I know some stuff. So Paulson like goes, all right, I'm gonna let you go with this guy. I want to say his name was this Big Dave. His name was Big Dave, big guy. And so he's like this big, like brawly guy. And I'm like, okay, I'll go with him. And I'm like, okay, well, bro. I crescent kicked him. He was like, whoa. Then I jumped spinning back kicked him, dropped, double legged him, and took him to the ground, and then like ground and pound and armbarred him. And Paulson was like, oh, you know how to fight. Like, come on. And I was like, dude, you just murdered me in wrestling, like, or in jiu-jitsu, like, or catch wrestling. And I'm like, so what does this guy know on his feet? Because he looks excited. That's what I'm thinking. Like,
Right.
okay. And again, just took me to school. I
Yeah.
mean, mind you, I'm in like college wrestling shape, right? Which is really good
Yeah.
shape, right? It's not, you're not, guff if you're
Right.
Pac-10 Division One, wrestling shape, right? But I had never really mixed, striking breathing with wrestling breathing. So I was like, I was like over breathing and under
Mm-hmm.
breathing and not breathing when I was supposed to. And I remember after the round we had two rounds, two 6-minute rounds. And after the second round, I was like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
I haven't felt that in a long time.
Yeah.
And it was like the one you can't control, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no. I was like, hey, coach, you have a restroom? I really need to go restroom. I've been drinking too much water. He's like, oh, yeah, it's over there, right? And so, like, yeah, I'll just keep fighting or whatever. He's like, come back, though, this and that. And I go to the bathroom, let it
Yeah.
all out, wash my face off. And I'm like, all right, breathe, PJ. You know something. It's just not working today. Like it's just not working today. And we got to figure out why. And it was that moment where I was like, I have to train here because like
Right.
I've done some gnarly shit the last 4 years at Cal State Bakersfield, but never like this before. Like
Yeah.
this is next. I have to be here. I have to be here. So
Right.
story is I'm still there. I'm still under his affiliation. You know what I mean? So and I remember walking out after I just like let it all out and I'm like washed off, like, I'm good. And I walk up, but apparently I had like one little piece of food. I still have this little like soul
Oh.
patch stuck in the soul patch. And he's like, you doing all right, man? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing great, coach. I'm ready to go. And he walks up and he goes, okay, get in there. Like, it's okay. Get in there. And I'm like, oh man, he saw that I threw up,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But that was why I stayed because
Yeah.
I hadn't felt like that ever before. And I was like, you know what? Like, there's something here that I need to learn and need to
Right.
know. And catch wrestling is such an old school art, right? Like from, Lancashire, England and stuff like that, all the way back to the snake pit, Bill Riley, Tom or, Gotch, Bill Riley, Gotch, and then it goes down to Satoru Sabayama, Tiger Mask, and, all that lineage that he has down to Eric Paulson. So I'm learning from the fountain that's been draining from the founder. You know what I mean? Like I have a pedigree lineage with catch wrestling. And with our jujitsu, it's under Higa Machado. So like Keegan's funny thing about jujitsu is like I was such a catch wrestler for so long that Paulson was finally like, "Oh, I'm gonna start a gi program." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like, why not, coach? I'll do that." But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to wear that. Like, I've done judo and I don't really want to wear that. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to do that again. Like, I've done. And he's like, "You did judo too?" I was like, "Yeah, shit, yeah, yeah, yeah." I was like, "I'm an EQ, but like, like it is what it is." Like, but no, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And then I remember going Paulson had Hegan for like a seminar, right? And he brought some purple belts and all that stuff. And I was just like going off on him, dude, just going off on him because like I'm a catch wrestler, right? And then he's like, "Hey, you put on the gi," and I was like I was so resistant, like,
Yeah.
it's
The
not me.
wrestlers for some reason, I had a couple buddies when I got started, and for whatever reason they would come in to jujitsu class without gis, and they would want to use a lot of wrestling, and I think it's a common like natural feel to it, right?
Yeah, yeah, because that's where you're comfortable, right? Like
Yeah.
like I was having a discussion the other day about the difference between jujitsu and wrestling, right? Like how you can always out wrestle a jujitsu guy, but you can't out jujitsu a jujitsu guy because like jiu-jitsu, like we were talking about micro drilling the other day. Me and my friend, we were just
Mhm.
kind of like chit chatting back and forth. Like whereas jiu-jitsu spends time like in the guard, in closed guard, open guard, whatever delahiva, spider, whatever it is that it
Right.
is that's your style, right? And like the same situation for wrestlers, like our transitions are so fast because we spend time, like how they call situational drilling, right? Like,
Right.
okay, we're in a double leg here. Okay, now we're in the single leg. Now we're in the body lock. Now we're here. Now we're extended. Now we're in a sprawl. Now we're one leg. Now we're two leg. Now we're one head out, both ends and knees. Like just breaking down so many different positions. Okay, now we went there. Now this is the next transition. So we're going to drill this, this, this. We spend so much time in micro transition with wrestling. That's why wrestlers move so versus
Yeah.
like it's kind of like the way we were describing is like jujitsu is like the wave where it's like it flows into the movement into the thing where wrestling is the wave, but it's like the last part of the wave that lands and crashes and just
Yeah.
like tries to stir it all up, right? Because
Right.
that's the scrambled egg part, right? Like
Right.
that's what we're looking for. Um, and having to be able to balance both at the same time I was like, dude, I'm comfortable. Like in why would I want to get my ass kicked? I've been doing good for the last like couple of years. Like I don't want a first practice again. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
want that. And so, I remember Hegan being like, well, you want belt? And I was like, yeah, I want a belt. We get a black belt. We can put on the gi.
Yeah.
And then Paulson looks at me. He's like, you made me do it. And I was like, all right, I'll start doing it. And then he goes to proceed and just beat the living hell out of me in the gi because I tooled up some of the purple belts that he
Right.
brought with him, right? And so he just had to show me, the difference between the two. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like I always say, like, a no good no gi match is like two leopards trying to kill each other. They're
Yeah.
flexible, moving fast, striking hard, whatever. But with a gi on, it's like fighting an octopus. Like there's so many different grips and poses and twists and turns, and a
Right.
sleeve this way and a sleeve this way with my foot on your hip and a butterfly can
Yeah.
make me do a somersault in midair and land where you can choke me.
Right.
Like, and then I just learned so many different things from Hegan and from Paulson. Once I got into the gi, my mind really
Yeah.
like, oh, this is a different world. Like it's a
It
completely
opens
different
up so much
animal.
more, right?
Oh, it's a completely different animal, a completely different world. And some of my students, like I'm always because I'm the head jiu-jitsu coach over at UFC Anaheim in Garden Walk.
Okay.
So I run that, and the beautiful thing about that is I have different systems. I have a 10th planet system at our 6 a.m. I have checkmat during the day, Gracie Baja during the day, and then I do catch wrestling at night. So like I've brought like four of the most common styles that are around that world and brought them together. So my students now have 4 different looks of the technique, not just coming from me in catch wrestling, or not just coming from 10th Planet, not just coming from Gracie Baja or Checkmat, Lucas Lipe.
Right.
It's a situation now where you have multiple outlets to go to. And on top of that, you can't tell me you could miss practice, because if you couldn't make my class, you could still go to Lucas Lipe, where Coach Rich is. You can go to 10th Planet Mike John and in
Hmm.
Orange, with where Coach Lou goes out of. You can go to
Right.
Gracie Baja Anaheim, where Coach Dan is out of. And you can go to La Union out of where Coach I can't think of his name right now. Jang, I can't think of his name. Darn it. Johnny. Coach Johnny is that, and so you've got 5 other practices you can make it to. So if you can't make it
Yeah.
to mine, you can make it to one of those. Okay. And you
Right.
just say they're your student. And usually, with how jiu-jitsu world is, like, oh, you're Johnny's student. Oh, come in. Or you're Mike's, you're
Right.
under Lou, come on in. Oh, you're under Rich, come on in. You're under Dan, come on in. CSW, going to PJ, you can come on in. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way that the world works, right? So, like, I was always taught by Eric Paulson to train with everybody, because one school might be a guard player, one might be a passer, one might be, leg lockers, one might be chokers, one might be arm specialists. Like, there's just so many different avenues
Right.
of this game, right? And if you limit yourself just to the no-gi style, you're missing out on this. It's like you're falling, and this was supposed to be the parachute, right? And great if you're a solid piece and you can fall from the sky and land and not hurt yourself, great. But
Yeah.
you need how is it? You need to evolve your skill, and
Right.
staying in the same area doing the same thing over and over again doesn't really evolve. You get better here and there, but you get better
Yeah.
in like micro increments versus full steps.
Right.
And when you humble yourself to go to the gi, bro, like I said, it's just a different world. It's just a completely different world.
Well, not only that is you have to understand it, right? Like from a competition standpoint, even if that's not your style, like if you're not a rubber guard player or you don't have the crazy flexibility, you still have to understand the movement. Even if
Yep.
you're not buggy choking people, you still got to understand how to get out of the buggy choke. So
I agree.
I mean, it's a part of the defense, and I think defense is something like a lot of gyms don't focus on as much. It's a lot of offense and
Attack.
positions, but defense, there's so many different things defensively that, really opens up jujitsu, and if you start to evolve your game to where you're playing to the defense, right? You already know what they're gonna do or how they're gonna defend, and you play your offense to that, you can be a really dangerous player.
Oh, 100%. And again, like it's being able to attack like a leopard, tiger, or like an octopus. Like
Yeah,
the octopus can hold you 6 different ways and still bite the hell out of you or choke you out at the same time. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
it's that theory of, like, why? Because why would you limit yourself to one style? Because,
Yeah.
like, we also, from Eric Paulson's standpoint, he's a direct lineage from Bruce Lee. Yeah, Bruce Lee, Don and Santo. So Don and Santo, if you look at some of the videos in the 90s and like the early 2000s, there'll be a guy with a blonde ponytail, white guy with blonde ponytail, doing knives and sticks and Kali and Jeet Kune Do. That's Eric
Yeah.
Paulson.
Oh yeah.
So, like, I've learned Jeet Kune Do from him. And it's like, so it goes Bruce Lee, Don and Santo, Eric Paulson, and PJ Montano. Because I'm very big about my lineages being pedigree lineages that I can trace. So if
Right.
anybody ever asks me, I could have a full conversation about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like we're having right now.
Right.
And it's that situation where Bruce used to say, Professor Lee used to always say, limiting yourself to one style is a sin as far as the martial arts religion, because
Yeah.
then you're just stuck in this is how it's supposed to be. Then he fought Gene LaBelle, got tooled up, and was like, oh, I gotta create Jeet Kune Do to also counter grappling as well, because
Right.
I was just worried about striking.
Yeah.
And Uncle Gene,
Judo and yeah,
I
it's a
was
whole
lucky
nother
enough to
world.
meet Uncle Gene a couple times, and he actually showed me a move, like a specific choke with the gi, and he's like, you have to hit this 1,000 times now, just this move, and I'm like, yeah, yes sir, yes sir, but first I'm gonna show you how it feels so you know what you're doing to someone, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, what's that mean? And Coach
It
Paulson
means
just
you're
like,
about to get thrown.
well, thrown and choked out,
Yeah.
thrown and choked out. So Coach Paulson, because it's a choke, so he's going to show me what it does, and I got to learn how to do it. And his version of learning how to do it was like he would tell me and be like, and he didn't have a golden ear, and he didn't have any patches on him that day. He used to either give out a patch that said break a leg, where he had a golden cauliflower ear that he would give you if you choked out. And he didn't have any that day because he gave them to the instructors. And I was just like, all right, well, whatever. I'm here. And you tell him, show me something, and I'll do it. And sure enough, it was funny because before he put me to sleep, he was like, "Did you use the restroom today?" And I was like, "What? Yeah."
Yeah.
Like, and then like I woke up like, whew, okay, right? I'm alive. I'm like looking around, and they're like, "Yeah, you're good. You're good." Like I sit up, like, "Hey, why did you ask me if I use the restroom,
Yeah.
Mr. LaBelle? Like, why did you ask me that?" And then he goes, "Oh, well, I did this to Steven Seagal, and he shit his pants." And I was like, "So there's like a rumor apparently, or a story apparently that happened. I guess I can neither confirm or deny that
Yeah.
that's true, but I heard it from him, and I was like, whoa, like, okay, cool. Well, I'm glad I didn't. I mean, damn. Um, but it's like I've been blessed to learn like from legends of this sport,
Yeah.
and it really is um in the art of grappling. There's so many different things like Sambo Steve, like Coach Paulson brings him in to teach Sambo sometimes. There's just so many outlets that I've been blessed enough to be around. And
Yeah.
it's always been like the right time. I'm there at the right time to learn what I'm supposed to be learning, if that makes sense in the grappling world.
Right.
And especially now with I started doing super matches, fight to win, super matches for subversive. Just I started really chasing the super matches stuff when I got a brown belt, because I got my brown belt, and I was already competing like every month, right? Like once a month for like I want to say like 4 or 5 years, like I would say a little bit less than 5 years. And then I got my brown belt eventually. And I remember Keegan goes, grabs my knot after he ties it, and Paulson's there, and he goes, "You want to be black belt?" And I'm like, "Black belt? Yeah, yeah, I want to be a black
Mhm.
belt." You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he goes, "You have to fight for it." I'm like, "I am." What's he talking about? Like, and
I
I was
thought I
like, and
was.
I thought I was, so I'm talking and I told Coach Paulson, I'm like, "Hey, I'm I'm competing like every month. Like, what does he mean I have to fight for it?" He's like, "Oh, maybe you got to compete twice." I don't know. And he just like I was like, "Oh shit, okay." And so that's when I like went for I'm gonna be super fight. I'm gonna go for super fights, and it got to the point like for like I want to say 4 years probably. It took me to get you know to my black belt once I was brown. um, Everything I did, I would tag Keegan in it, like obnoxiously tag him in it. Look, I'm fighting. Look, I'm fighting. Look, I'm fighting. Send it to him. Text it to him.
Yeah.
Look, I'm fighting. Send it to him. Text it to him. And he'd always be like I remember towards the end, once we got done with all that, we I ended up taking silvers at Worlds, and I got to a point where I had my last brown belt super match in Fresno at Fight to Win, and I ended up beating the current IBJJF world champion at that time in my weight class, one
Wow.
on one. So I was like, oh shit. And so when I came home, in my mind, I was like, promotions is coming up this year. I'm getting my black belt this year. This match, I'm getting my black belt. This is my black belt. I remember fighting that match specifically against, I remember his last name, Sean something or other, but he was a Masters 2 at that time because I was at that Masters 2 age. And I was like, I'm gonna beat your ass. And I did. And I did. I,
Yeah.
I whooped his ass. But the whole time I was thinking, this is my black belt. This is
Yeah.
my black belt, motherfucker. This is my black belt right now. I'm fighting for my black belt. I'm whooping your ass right now. I'm doing knee cranks and toe holds and cross faces and spinal locks and elbows in the back of your neck. Like
Right.
I was pretty mean in that match, but I was trying to prove to them that like, look, like I want to be a black belt and I want to start fighting like that. And then that day came eventually, right, where I got my black belt and I did all that, and then I started rolling with other black belts, and I was like, did I really want to become a black belt?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Like then it was like it was a brand new world. Like it
Yeah.
was almost like I started over again. You know what I
That's
mean?
what they
Like,
say, right? They say
oh,
it feels like, starting from the beginning.
well, and the thing about that is like with what I learned from some of the guys that I was rolling with at Paulson's that were blacks, it was like I would reach, and they're already third degrees, right? They've already been a black belt for almost 9 years at this point, 10
Yeah.
years at this point. So
That's a
like,
while.
so it's a way, like that's how long it took me to get from, blue to black. So,
Yeah.
that's competing all the time, doing everything, thinking I'm on the top. Like I'm reaching and they're already in the sweep to the submission. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on? You know what I mean? Just the that pace, the speed, the anticipation, you know.
Yeah.
So, once I got silver at Worlds, I kind of like, how did it work? I also work in surgery. So during my daily life, I'm actually a surgical FA for oncology. So I do surgery during the day. So like surgery schedules started taking over and like really, you know, started taking over my life for a minute. So I kind of like backed out of competition because life was just so busy with me that I had to concentrate on, paying the bills, taking care of my wife, taking care of my
Right.
kids, doing all that kind of stuff like that. Life happens. And that's how I fell into reffing. So I fell into reffing. One time, one of my friends invited me out to High Rollers in Vegas. I don't know if you know what High
Yeah. Yeah.
Rollers is.
Yeah.
So High Rollers is where I started because one of my friends, Darren's, like Jessica Evil Eye, was supposed to be there, but Mr. Flight. And so he was the referee and ended up being like the announcer that day and was like, "Hey, like you're a black belt, why don't you ref?" And I was like, "Okay, sure, why not? What is it? Judge's decision, like this." And he's like, "Yeah," and then it goes to last, 2 point or last takedown if it goes over. So I'm like, "All right, screw it, I'll mess with it." And so I started doing it, and I was like, "Oh shit, like I can totally do this," because I was watching transfers that I'd already seen so many times
Right.
that
Makes
I could.
sense. You would think you want more high level grapplers, like yourself that understand positions and stuff in that type of role, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like regardless of how much I know or what I've done, like you're always gonna get criticized as a judge or as a referee. You're not gonna make
Yeah.
everybody happy.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's
And
part of the
that's
game, right?
that's part of the game. That's part of the game. And if you're not getting that attention, then you must be doing something wrong as well. I mean, people got to watch. People got to. That means people are watching and really care about what's going on with that particular, whatever that set is, right?
Yeah.
So I got into that with high rollers. Then Subversive gave me a chance, and I started working with Subversive. I still work with Subversive BJJ now. That's combat jujitsu. We do combat jujitsu and like submission only no gi jujitsu. And so I started refing for them, and I got into I was also become their athlete liaison. So I work with like, so when the fighters have a fight, I'm the one that's like, hey, are you in for this fight? Yeah. Are you in for this fight? Yeah. Okay. You two are gonna fight each other at this weight class. Blah 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 blah. Like that's my middleman job
The
for
go
Subversive.
between guy.
Yeah, the go
Yeah.
between. So I'm the one that they go, oh hey, I can't fight. I gotta find another fighter. Okay, that kind of thing like that. So it's one of those situations for me where I started getting into that pretty hardcore, man, like really hardcore. And then Brandon BMAC from PGF, he actually was at one of our events as a announcer. And I was kind of like, oh snap, like, who's this guy? Like this guy, I've never seen this guy where I never before. But it was just me by myself at that Subversive event, refing, 20 matches by myself, no assistant, no anything, just me running the mat by myself. Like I could do it because I was confident enough and I had enough knowledge and I was able to anticipate and follow people and keep people on the mat. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm the guy that will put his body between people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's just that's just how I was taught, right? So I'm doing all that, and then BMAC hits me up and he goes, "Hey man, like, I need another referee for this thing we're doing in Vegas, and I think you should be a part of it." And I was like, "What's it called?" It's called PGA, it's Professional Grappling Federation. And I was like, "How does that work?" And he goes, "Oh, like we're a team event. We have teams that come from different areas, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Dude, I'm down." So I remember that day I told I'll never forget that conversation with my surgical manager, right? My surgical manager, I go, "Look, I have to be gone for a week. So legally, I don't have to tell you why I have to be gone." Okay. And I was like, "Look, I have to be gone for a week. I have something very personal that's coming up, and it's a once in a lifetime situation that I have to take care of, and I cannot be here next week. So you can either fire me right now, but I'm gonna go to this.
Yeah.
So I
This is
need you to."
non-negotiable.
Yeah, so and I didn't tell him what it was, where I was going, nothing. I was just like, this is non-negotiable. I am gone next week, okay? All week, and I will be back the next Monday. I know I've already looked at the schedule. I've already talked to people that can slide into my spot.
Yeah.
I've already have everything. So when they were like, "Oh, well, you've got to have, you got to get people to cover. Here's the five that already signed." Uh, shit. Legally, I given you my people have given me my signature to cover me. Here's your thing.
Yeah.
So I'm out. I'll see you later. Any questions? No. See you next Monday.
Yeah.
Just like that, and just walked out of the office. Didn't give him a chance to rebuttal. This is like, here it is, boom, 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 I'm out. And then was in PGF for like a week, and that was the time the PGF was running. You see this 5 week thing that we doing before the finals, right? They used to do 3 matches a day for a week, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about a fucking grinder? I
Yeah.
had never seen a competition like that before in my life, and I was even like, this is nuts. Like, this is absolutely insane. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and like in the very one of the very first matches, I ended up chasing, Andy Valera down with PJ Bartz jumping over a freaking couch. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
the referee trying to grab them, pull them back in, because what people don't understand is behind those couches, it's all cement
Yeah.
or a folding chair, right? So like,
Yeah.
if I'm a referee trying to like stop you, like, I'm not stopping you because I want to stop your body, or I want to hit you, or I want to push you, or I want to stop your momentum. No, like, as a referee and as surgery, I've seen injuries of people falling onto cement or doing something. Then you've got to
Oh
get your
yeah.
arm, you got to get a plate and like 3 screws or something like that put in your arm or your elbow. We have to rewire your kneecap because it fell onto the concrete with everyone's body weight on it. Like,
Yeah. You
I've done
understand the
those
danger
surgeries.
of the
Yes, I
situation.
understand it. So I'm at a level to where of fitness and of knowledge to where I can anticipate kind of where you're going and already know what the next step is going to be, and I'll put my body directly in that line of fire so that you don't get hurt. I mean, I broke a tooth for PGF one time. You know what I mean? Because I caught two people and like bit my tooth, and I caught two heads to the jaw.
Yeah.
But PGF always takes care of it. They take care of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no question, no anything about it. It was like, let me help you out when you can't, where I can, and this and that. And again, it's a beautiful situation at PGF where like PGF is my childhood dream manifested into reality, and I just
Yeah.
happen to be a main player in it. Praise God, because I've been I've been dreaming of a league like that since I was a kid. Like I said, going back to like the 80s and 90s, right? Like, those were the times where, with my dad taking me to YMCA's or Boys and Girls Club, where someone was holding a wrestling seminar or a judo seminar. And it was like, okay, we're going to do 2 moves today, but you can buy the videos here for $5 a pop. I have a extensive, I have an extensive collection at my parents' house of jujitsu, judo, and wrestling videotapes. Okay. Now, I'm not my dad has a video of a Dave Schultz seminar.
Oh
Dave
wow.
Schultz, bro,
Yeah.
of him teaching a big man double leg where he would shoot and he'd put his hand under the armpit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's how far back my dad's grappling goes. You know what I mean? So he was doing all this stuff in like the 70s and the 80s prior to me even being born, to teach me how to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was a really good it was a beautiful life growing up. I had, my dad was very supportive, a little harsh, but in the aspects of training and keeping discipline, and because he was a cop. So it's very like, this is
Structure.
it.
Yeah.
This is the line. You don't go left or right. Like,
Yeah.
this is the line. Don't step off. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Nothing. He never hurt me or anything, but it was just
Yeah.
very like, this is
Structure.
the way it is. Don't do that. If you do that, there's a consequence. This is the consequence. Like, my
Yeah.
dad never hit me. My dad, I used to hate having a pool at one point in my life, because when I was like talking back, I was in that age of talking back, well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He'd make me get a 2 gallon jug of water and fill it up 20 times and empty it. So fill it up, hold it
Oh
like this till it
man.
empties. Fill it up. So it was like, you gonna yell at your mom again? No, no. Okay, you got 5 more. You got 5 more. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stand right here, watch you do it. Like, stand right there and watch me do it, kind of thing. And then be done and be like, oh, okay, now I need you to blow down the backyard and wash down the cement. Go for it. I'll catch you when you're done. Are you fucking kidding me? It was like
Yeah. That's
it was like
wild.
corporal punishment, but in a way that like he wasn't physically punishing me, he was physically punishing me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and
Right.
then my dad growing up, like, because he was a cop, and he trained people. He used to carry around a silver straw and a silver spoon, and it was for the cadets, like, that were like, oh man, I don't want to do this. Oh, hold on, I got a spoon for you. Here, dig in. There's a spoon for you. And then, like, if I was like bitching and crying, yeah, I don't want to do this. He'd get the straw. Hey, hey, suck it up. You're all right. So like my dad would provide physical artifacts along with his shit talking. So it
Yeah.
was like, like
Yeah.
again, what can I say? You said it and then provided an example.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. So I think that's where I get a lot of my sarcastic like shit talking to like the students and stuff like that is just because the way I was raised in that aspect. But grappling was always a priority. It was never an option. It was just like this is what you do because I've been in real life situations on the street and it saved my life multiple times. That's my dad telling me. So of course, I'm gonna listen to dad. I'm gonna do what dad wants to do, because I want to be like dad. He's like my hero, still my hero. So it's like, why would I not want to follow in those footsteps? Why would I not want to learn these things? And now I'm teaching my kids and my daughter, my
Right.
son and daughter, how to do all this stuff like that. And again, it's like they're like, oh, I don't want. Well, guess what? You were at school for 8 hours. We can box and do. You can box or wrestle. What do you want to do? My daughter likes kickboxing. My son likes wrestling. So I'm like, double, there's a boxing, there's, this and that. We're going to do that for 30 minutes. And then you're going to do this, do a little extra here. And then we're going to go do our homework. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that kind of thing. You got to do both. And that's just in my household. Like you got to get your blue belt. After your blue belt, you don't have to continue if you don't want to. You've got to learn how to defend yourself, protect yourself, get someone off of you, and then get away from somebody and hurt
Yeah.
someone if you have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just the reality of the world that we're in, right? Like,
I feel like it should, I mean, most parents should be looking for something like that. Like just to have that skill to keep your kids safe, you know what I mean? Like how
100%.
or even yourself, right? The guys that don't train, like how do you plan to defend your family if something crazy's going down? Like
hmm I,
that,
I I
that
completely agree. That's the thing I run into a lot with parents, right? Every parent that comes to the school, like, oh, well, I just don't want them to get hurt. Look, it's not about getting hurt. Here is a controlled environment. Okay, I can stop if something's getting a little too crazy, and I'm right here watching them. And if I'm rolling with them, I'm not going to hurt them. But you know, 100% of parents, 100% of parents tell their kids what? Defend yourself, defend yourself,
yeah,
defend yourself. 99% of them don't do anything to get them ready to defend themselves.
right.
So it's like, how are you going to tell your kid to defend themselves if they don't know how to defend themselves? And then if something bad happens, what, you take them in the garage and teach them for 10 seconds and expect them to remember that the rest of their life? Like, no, that's not how it is. It's about consistency. It's about mat time. It's about, consistently showing up and doing something so repetitious that it just becomes second nature to you. And
Yeah.
that's how you remember things. Your muscle memory, right? That's how you learn to remember things. And again, my kids kind of grew up in the same way. Like they just woke up and your daddy does all this stuff, so you got to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's part of
a,
it.
and a lot of the stuff that I translate now to them is stuff that I see from repping because now it's a new evolution of inverting and all this leg lock stuff and all this stuff that, again, I was learning leg locks in 2004, 2005. So in 2026, there's really nothing other than a new entrance into getting into it or inverting to slip by something to get to it. Those are the only new things that I'm really seeing because I've seen so many things of it. And like I said, Coach Polson always makes a joke that, every 3 or 4 years they change the name and
Yeah.
now it's this. He's like, I wish they would
Yeah.
just call it what it was. And like he's like he's
Yeah. It gets
he's just the
confusing.
yeah, yeah. He's just that guy. It's like someone come up and say, hey, I need you to do this. A what? Show it to me. Oh, that's this. This is what it's called.
Yeah.
Like, and that then he'll give you a whole seminar on it. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like he's such a tome of knowledge. Um, and now with the reffing aspect, being able to study it at full speed, full tenacity, with intent behind every
Right.
single movement, I now translate to that to my students. Like, no, that shit never worked, bro. Like, don't do that. Well, why? Because I saw, Cam Hurd do it this way. I saw Elijah Carlton do it this way. You know what I mean? I saw Andy Valera do it this. I saw PJ Barch do that. Like
Yeah.
those are the things that I can say because I was standing right there while they were doing it, refing them PGF. So I understand what works. Like Travis Thompson in the Dead Orchard. That's not how you do a Dead Orchard. You have to do it like this because when Travis did it, that motherfucker went to sleep. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why you have to do it like that. not this other way because they're gonna get out. So don't half-ass at it in my class. Like that's what I tell them. Don't half-ass it because I'm gonna know if you're half-assing based off of where your beginning point is, midpoint, and end point. I'm gonna know exactly where you screwed up because I've seen that transition so many times. And we're gonna
Right.
break it down however we need to break it down, And so I got to the point with PGF where I got to the next level where I was like, you know what, I want to do something more with wrestling. So one of my friends at Camo, David Denkin, he was like, hey man, like you should go to Herb's class. And I was like, Herb's got a class? What do you mean? Like Herb Dean? And he's like, yeah, Herb Dean. And I was like, oh sure, yeah, get me hooked up, right? So the very first time Herb Dean calls, right? He's like, hey PJ, this is Herb Dean. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. And I hung the phone up, like, like, no, this isn't. Shut up. You're not Herb Dean. It's a freaking
No
LA
way.
number. Yeah, I was like, this isn't Herb. I thought it was my friends messing around with me. Like, this isn't Herb Dean. No. Anyway, I'll talk to you in a little bit, man. And I hung the phone up. And then I got a text message from him saying, this is Herb Dean. You signed up for my course. And I was like, oh shit, that really was him. Like, let me call him back. Hey, Mr. Dean, how you doing? He's like, oh, how you doing there, PJ? And I was like, good. He's like, David Denkin, referred you and this, that, and that. And I had already done some stuff with, Carlos Beltran over with Subversive and stuff like that because they do the combat part of the jujitsu.
Right.
And I had just really had been working with people that I didn't know were connected like that and or did never thought I would be connected like that. You know what I mean? So I got through the course, passed his courses, then ended up now I'm working with Camo right now, doing, inspecting, reffing, judging, all that kind of fun stuff like that. And it's just a different animal. MMA is just a completely different animal than jujitsu.
Oh yeah.
Because there's so many different moving parts, like striking and then ground and pound, octagon control, damage, true damage. You know what I mean? Stepping on the gas pedal to get that full 10-8 or like backing off a little bit, which looks like you murdered someone, but you really got a 10-9 because you stepped off the pedal. Like
Right.
it's this completely different realm that I'm new to now with jujitsu. I was doing PGF, I've been doing PGF the last 4 weeks, like pretty hardcore, like full speed. And now with MMA, I go to transfer some of that knowledge there, but it's not jujitsu.
Yeah.
It's striking. So the jujitsu is great, but you have to make it relevant to the MMA situation, not just a lockdown or a hold or anything like that. Like it's got to be a true bite. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's been really, really cool evolving that knowledge. You know what I mean? Because I'm just a really tough nerd, bro. I study all the time. I study all the time with surgery because I'm always having to learn like new surgical procedures, how they're going to do it, treatment plans, all that kind of stuff like that. So it just translates well to where I'm at with my, as Coach Paulson says, my sensei phase, where I'm teaching now so much that now I'm getting not just what I've done, my experience, and what I've studied, but also what I'm seeing right now that everybody's doing, and
Right.
where the attacks are, and what people are going for, and where they're attacking it from. Like I'm not, I'm 42. I'm going to be 43, right? Like I'm not somebody that's going to start learning how to invert, break my back. Like I'm not trying
Yeah.
to do that. I'm not going to go pop, pop,
That's
pop.
the young man's game, right?
I'm like, I can't move for 2 days. What happened? Like that kind of thing. So it really is that situation where, being in my sensei phase at the moment, it really is, I'm enjoying it because I'm being able to pass on just like I'm about the age that I met Coach Paulson at. I'm a little older, but like maybe 5 years older than when I met Coach Paulson. He's like his 35 when I was like
Yeah.
24 or something like that. So like he's a he's like my godfather of jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like and catch wrestling. Paul, I learned more from him than anybody else as far as like, my lifelong journey. I've been with Paulson for 25 years and 43.
Yeah.
Like I'll be 43. Like that's over half of my life I've been with the guy.
Right.
Like every
Longer,
other
you've
day.
been with him longer than you haven't been with him.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and again, why would I leave that lineage? Like, why would I leave that lineage? Like,
Yeah.
at all? So I carry the CSW. Hold on, one sec. I carry the CSW.
All right, PJ, I got some fun questions for you.
Yeah. What's
Um,
up?
I want to know, what do you think it is about PGF that makes it so interesting?
It's the rule set. It's the pace. I like to tell people that this isn't like where you come to cruise and hang out. Like it's the drag racers of jujitsu, right? You've got three fights against three of the best people of your particular weight class in the game right now, and the game is submission. And if you hold, like we get, all right, we're trying to pass a guard, we're trying to get here, but I get stuck here. Okay, you got stuck. One 1,000, two 1,000, three 1,000, four 1,000, five 1,000. Make a move. Let's make a move. We're going to give you a warning. We're going to give you a warning. Six 1,000, seven 1,000, eight 1,000, nine 1,000, 10 1,000. Shot clock. What? And you get people, what? What the hell? Well, we're not here for you to. Boring. Good jujitsu is a slow, step by step
Right.
pressure path. We're not here for
You
that.
got to advance.
So
Yeah.
you have to advance. But it doesn't matter how you advance. It's not about advancing in a uh, secular step-by-step movement, right? It's advancing at it's like aggressive speed chess. If you didn't already figure out how you're going to get through this thing, whatever it is that you're fighting,
Yeah.
then you better figure it out like now, like right
Yeah.
now, and figure it out on the moment. Like people are like, "Well, I'm not just going to jump in the legs." Well, you might have to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give him my arm. Well, you might have to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give him my back. Well, you might have to. I'm not going to let
Right.
him mount me. You might have to because you're stuck. Someone's got to go somewhere, and you're the one not doing something, and this person's pressing. So guess what? Your defensive player, you better do something. If that means I got to turn my back, okay, I've changed the position now. Now the shot clock's not working. Now they're attacking, they're doing whatever. But I've got another 5 to 10 five before I warn you, 10 before we throw that clock on. And yeah,
Right.
remember, like, and then you get 20 seconds after that. 30 seconds in a freaking 5 minute fight. That's a long time, dude.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Okay.
Oh
So
yeah.
like, we gotta like you gotta move. And I always
Yeah.
tell people, you're the drag racers of jujitsu, guys. And if you don't understand that, then and you came here to cruise, it's not the spot for you. Like, you know what
Well,
I mean?
I mean, the other reality is it's a show. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be interesting to make people want to watch. Like, I've been
Yeah.
bored to tears with UFC BJJ because I feel like it's missing something. I
And
don't know
that's
what it is. Maybe entertainment value. Maybe I'm looking for more Ultimate Fighter entertainment in there. But
so what sets it apart at those two things that I've noticed is that the jujitsu, UFC, the UFC BJJ, nothing against it, but those guys, some of those guys are superstars. They don't want to lose. They would rather drag it out to a draw than
right,
lose. In PGF, it's for your team. If you don't score points, that's worse than than not anything else because now your team standing goes here or there
yeah, it
because
changes everything.
someone dared and ended up with a choke, and now they got 6 points on the board where you just played around and you got zero, and now your team's down 6-0. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like that's the game. That's the whole game apart about it.
right.
That's what I love, and that's why I love PGF because PGF inspires each fighter to fight not just for themselves but for their team, not just individually like UFC one-on one kind of thing.
Right.
I would rather drag this out because I'm in a crappy position and just go for the draw. Well, I don't
Yeah.
want to see the draw. I want submission. Like, let's
You
go. I
might
want
have
to see
some pressure
pace.
from the team too.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, I
yeah,
got to
yeah,
pick
yeah.
that shit up.
100%, 100%. So, and that's how I know that PGF is different. That's how
Yeah.
I know it's different than everything else that's going on right now.
Let me ask you this. What's the most interesting or the best match you've ever been a part of in PGF?
Oh man, that's so hard to say. Um, I think hardest I want to say was Jet Thompson and Andy Valera when Andy won that um that first competition for Andy. I
Yeah.
thought that match because Jet was just like 17 years old, right?
Right.
Just like coming up and murking adults, and then he
Yeah.
ran into Ninja Andy Valera, and Andy had a hard time with him. He still got him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he had a hard time with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now the most interesting guy is to me is Jet Thompson right now. This
Yeah.
cat is like Billy Jack. If you've ever seen Billy Jack, the movie, he's like, he looks at the sheriff and he goes, I'm going to take this foot and I'm going to hit you right here. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. if Jet Thompson gets you in his guard and body locks you, he's gonna take your back and he's gonna choke you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it because he's done it to almost every single person.
Yeah.
Any person he gets to the guard, pulls them in, body locks, does that little hip scoot, gets a triangle, kicks himself on top. Now he's on your back. Good luck. Like
Yeah.
pack a lunch because you know, pack a lunch because that he's gonna
Yeah.
beat you up. He's gonna beat you up in that point or
Yeah.
finish
You're
you.
gonna be there. Well,
So
you're gonna be there a while.
yeah, yeah, either a while or it's gonna be a real quick meal. It's either gonna be
Yeah.
an appetizer or 7 course. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's one or the other. It's one or the other. You know, so that's kind of he's probably one of my most technical guys I like to watch right now. You know, he's a very good example of what the next generation is doing with transitional jujitsu.
Right.
But those are my two favorite. Andy Valera versus Jet Thompson in the first one when Andy won, and then Jet right now is just
On
he's
fire.
just imposing will. Like I am
He's
going to
becoming a
finish you.
man too at the same time. That's the other
Yeah,
thing. Man
yeah,
strength.
yeah. I'm going to take you and strangle you and stop me. You
Yeah.
can't.
What do you want to do about it?
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Hey, PJ, in closing, man, I just always like to find out, man, where do you see your journey going in the future? What are some of the things you want to accomplish in this thing?
So it's just I just want to I'm obviously coaching for the next generation. This is why we do things. You know, I'm actually started an app with a group called Submission Sensei. All right. That's a it'll be it's like it's an AI version of a I'd say like a travel sensei with you. It's a mobile sensei. So like if you say we're in class, what's the always thing where you're like, man, I got my ass kicked in this position. You could download our app, Submission Sensei, open it, and say, hey, I got stuck in side control. How do I get out? Well, it'll do its AI thing. It'll pop up the position you're in, videos on how to get out of it, and then
Wow.
live examples of it being used in combat to show you that's what it looks like and how you're going to get out of it. So
That's
that
pretty
that
awesome.
so and I started that because of my grandpa. So he passed away a few years ago. And he said, I really wish I could have spent the time teaching you everything I knew, but I was past my prime, so I couldn't. So
Right.
this is my project on teaching my grandchildren's children. That
Right.
is where I'm going with this project. So that is my like main focus right now. And then teaching, of course, and refing, of course. But I do have one fight left in me. I have one fight left. I don't know when or where it's going to be. I'll know when the time's right because I never
Yeah.
bowed my belt out. I've never bowed my belt out. So I have one left. So I don't know when or where that's going to be, but I've got one left to the final hoorah and bow it out and then call it a day with the hang up the shield and
Right.
maybe I'll take it down again later on. I don't know, but right now I run a soccer team for my daughter, baseball team for my son. I do surgery all day. I run a jujitsu school at night, and I'm training and doing refing and stuff like that on the side. So I wear a lot of
Yeah.
hats, man. I'm just trying to be a renaissance man. I want to do
Right.
everything, and I'm only here once, so I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Right.
And I'm just right now. I think with the future of this is just to keep an open mind to keep teaching and to always I'm a student for I'm a master to some but a student to all, and
Yeah.
that's the mode that I'm in right now. As much as I can learn, I want to learn and apply it. So I'm in like I think the future of this is just to be constantly evolving and constantly learning for myself in both teaching, practice, and application.
Yeah. Man, it's been awesome getting to hear your story, dude. And I really like that app that you're talking about. How do people find that or be
Yeah,
a
just
part of that?
you just go onto the app, look up Submission Sensei, but it's Sense AI. So it'll see SENSAI Sensei.
Very cool.
So it's a nice play on the end of like
Yeah, I like
Sensei
that.
I, and it's got like a little Mr. Miyagi like this. So it's like it's like a travel Miyagi. Like,
Yeah.
man, I got choked today. How do I get out of this choke? Here's the choke. Here's how you get out of it. Here's an example of it being used.
Yeah. That's pretty
So
awesome.
it's a pretty cool project that we're working on right now, and we're always looking for people because it's newer on the platform. So if people want to be a part of it,
Yeah.
message Submission Sensei on Instagram, and we'll go through who's going on because I'm one of the advisors for technique. So we try to work people because again, we try to learn from everybody. How you do. It's not that, oh, I know how to do an armbar. No, I know how to do an armbar 10 different ways.
Yeah.
That's the theory, right? Is
Right.
my foot might go here, his foot might do this, his foot might do this. Like
So many variables, right?
exactly. So and that's where the AI comes in. It takes all that and goes, here's
Yeah.
all these examples. You know what I mean? So it's that's where I'm really at right now. I see myself evolving my teaching, my application, and my keeping an open mind to things so that I can become a better instructor and pass it on to the next generation because that's
Right.
why we teach. We teach
Yeah.
for the next generation. So, and like I said, and if anyone wants to find me and come train with me, UFC Anaheim Garden Walk in Anaheim, that's where we're at. And then if you want to find out about me on Instagram, pjudges_jiu-jitsu. And
Yeah.
that's me, bro.
Dude, it's been awesome getting to talk to you, man. We always wish you the best of luck in anything that you do down the road. And, without support and fans and people, just being a part of this podcast, like I get something out of everybody I talk to. And, I pick up so many different little things. And, bringing AI into the jujitsu world, I thought, man, how are they going to do that? But I know somebody's working on it already.
Well,
So
we're doing it. We're doing it, man. It's already up. It's already
yeah,
up. We're just starting to add the algorithms and all that kind of stuff like that with Sid and them.
right.
It's a very good. It's gonna be good.
Very cool.
It's gonna be good for the sport. It's gonna be good for the world of jiu-jitsu. And like I said, I took this project on for my grandchildren's
Yeah.
kids. So when they go, oh, Grandpa's too old to do anything. Nope, check this out. That's what you can do.
Yeah.
And that's the
Very
plan.
true.
That's the plan. So again, and I always give glory to God because without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at or doing the things I'm doing because, he blessed me with a duality of healing and warfare, and I can do and teach both.
Right.
So I do.
Yeah. Well, it's been awesome getting to talk to you, man. We appreciate all the love and support. Fans, don't forget to download us each and every week. We're available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, anywhere where you can download podcasts. We appreciate all of our support out there, all of the fans. Make sure you tune in each and every week. This has been another great episode of Grapplers Talk. This is Dave, and we are out.
This is Grapplers Talk.